In this tutorial, I'm going to show you how to do a standing treble crochet. That's a UK term. In the US, it's a standing double crochet. Now, your reason for doing this is when you're working in rows, and it saves using chains at the start of a row and looks so much neater, but also you're standing one, all of these are standing treble crochets. They just look so much more like one of the normal stitches. It's much better for when you're putting on a border as well, because those chains can be quite thin, whereas this one is a lot thicker. You can't actually notice at all. So finish your last stitch of the previous round. You're going to do no chains at all. So I've just finished my last stitch and turning. You're going to pull out your loop a little bit, probably to about the height of one of your treble crochets or slightly smaller than. That's quite a fiddly stitch. My tips are to hold on to this hoop really tight. Put quite a lot of pressure on your finger holding onto that one. You can't lose that, otherwise you'll have to try again. My other little tip is try not to move the crochet hook too much, but move this hand a bit more when you're doing your loop round. It just helps keep this all in place. So you've got your hook, you've got your hoop that's slightly bigger. It's about the height of a stitch, maybe just slightly smaller. Press really hard. Now you're going to move your crochet hook forward and around in a circle, and therefore you've got an extra kind of loop on your hook. Now wrap this yarn round, pull it through that extra one you've just made, keeping hold of that first one. So now you've got two loops, that very first one that you were holding on really tight and the one you've just pulled through. Okay, and then it's just a case of yarning over, you can let go of it now, yarning over and pulling through both of them. That can also be a little bit tight to pull through. Okay, I'll do that once more to show you, so I'll undo that. So I've got my loop, my last stitch from the previous round, no chains. I turn it, pull it out, so I've got a bit of almost the same height as a stitch, but just slightly shorter than. Hold on really tight to that one, crochet hook round the front, round the back, and this is where I try and use this hand to move my yarn around the hook. Put it through that loop you've just made, and then yarn over and pull through both of them. Okay, and then you can just go on to your next treble crochet as you normally would. So there's no chains needed. But what that does do is just make that stitch a little bit thicker, and it looks a little bit better when you're doing the border, but it also just looks more like a treble crochet. One thing to note is that when you get to the end of the row and you're putting your last stitch into it, it can be quite tight to get a last stitch in, but just persevere, because you'll get the hang of it and you'll find where the crochet hook fits in it nice and easily. Alright, but it will just make your projects look that little bit sharper, a little bit better at the ends. Hope that's helped.